Hi, everyone. It's Jose Velazquez, and this is the Jose Velazquez Show. Really excited because we have one incredible guest coming your way, the incomparable Annie Brock.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
Hi, Jose. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon.
Oh my goodness, it is such a pleasure to see you. For many of you who may have participated in one of her many events, many classes that she provides online, you will immediately know Annie Brock. She is the president and CEO of the Leader Transition Institute, which provides a series of products and programs that have helped shape so many of us as we're transitioning from military service. And I got so much. I'd be honest with you, and I'll tell you that her course, from changing focus, moving from we to me, was such an incredible success for me in my life and helped me really restructure how I thought, or at least get me in the right direction. It took me a minute. I'm so used to the we. I still use it, Annie, and that's okay. I'm sure to some degree, but Annie sure helped and her team in kind of laying that groundwork. Annie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to know that we served you well.
Oh my goodness, of course. And you serve so many of us, Annie. First, let me do a little housekeeping. So, for those of you who may have questions for Annie about one of her programs, some comments, some suggestions, some ideas that kind of pop up in your head as you're watching us, I encourage you to post those questions. We are live on LinkedIn and Facebook. Now, you may be watching us live, or you may be watching us previously live on our YouTube channel. Wherever you're watching us, I encourage you to follow, subscribe, connect, so that you can get more information. I, of course, am on Wednesdays. I go live, and I got the funny show name, the Jose Velazquez Show, because I'm super interesting, or
I
not.
love it.
I don't
Why
know.
shouldn't you call it your own?
Right? Well, there you go. Annie, tell me a little bit more. What's going on in your world? What new things are coming your way? I've seen some things, but I'd rather you tell me about them.
Oh, well, I'm so excited. Jose, thank you so much for asking. We have a bunch of things going on right now. We are starting next week, actually, on Monday with two programs. The first one is our Outward Mindset Online Cohort 2, and that is designed specially for alumni of Changing Focus, moving from we to me. We've developed a partnership with the Arbinger Institute, and so they are providing this program free for our alumni and their spouses. So what it's about is having an outward mindset, is thinking of things and operating in the world from a position outside ourselves, from not looking immediately at how things affect us and from our point of view. It encourages us to think from the other person's perspective. So it's a 10-week program. We meet on Monday evenings from 8 to 9:30. There's no book to read. There's some videos to watch, short videos to watch, and a couple of short PDFs to read, and then we discuss. And so it's a great program. We've, as I said, this is cohort 2, so we did our pilot cohort, our first cohort, and we've heard that we're changing lives. So that's really exciting. And if you aren't one of our alumni, then you can pay Arbinger for $129, I think it is, and get a code for the course and then come through it with us. Because, see, they offer the program online, but there's no discussion. You're on your own.
Okay.
And so that's what makes it different. We bring it all together. Matt is a certified Arbinger Institute facilitator, and so he's an expert in the arena and leads the discussion.
Okay.
So that's exciting. And then the other thing that launches on Monday is our paid version of a 16-week study. I think it's 16 weeks, pretty sure, of the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We did a similar study last fall, but we only studied 9 chapters. We're doing the whole book, starting
Wow.
from the beginning, and I'm really excited to lead that. And for people who have already did that study with us in the fall, we're giving them a really good discounted rate to join us on this time. So that's what we have starting next week. And then for we have I'm just looking at my notes here.
Mhm.
We have a VA benefits Q&A session coming up on October 12th. And you know Jane Babcock, right,
I do.
Jose?
She's super popular and she's so knowledgeable.
Yeah. Well, she has agreed to come on with us every other month to do a live Q&A session about VA benefits. So you can come on and ask your question, or you can send the question ahead of time if you can't be on live.
Mhm.
And so that she's doing that. And I love that she is retired from actively being a veteran services benefits officer, but she has such a heart to serve that she has continued to do it with
Yeah.
groups like us.
Yeah, I love, and by the way, any LTI alumni floating around out there, please send a shout out. We'd love to see you commenting. And in addition to that, if any of you have particular questions about the courses that Annie discussed, pop them in there and we will pop them onto the screen and answer them. But Annie, I love the fact that you really are always looking at kind of a potpourri of courses or programs or individuals to help the service member who is transitioning. But you don't forget about the veteran, and you surely don't forget about the military family that comes along with that veteran or that service member in helping them, and how open you are to allowing them into your courses. Why is that?
Well, I think what the average person doesn't understand is that a military service member who has a family, they don't serve by themselves. So why should we just take care of them by themselves?
Yeah.
So that's why we serve military spouses and their children. And that's one of the things that I'm really excited about coming up in October. We did our first Global Youth Initiative event in conjunction with the John Maxwell team back in April for
Mhm.
high schoolers. And in October, we're doing it for grades 4 and up. And so we're going to talk about John Maxwell's book, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. And he has a teen and a youth version of it. So we'll work with the younger kids in the afternoon and then work with the middle schoolers and high schoolers in the evening. And it's free.
Oh my goodness, that's
And you
awesome.
don't have to be a military kid to join in.
That is especially awesome. So for anyone who's listening, I love that, and the fact that that your families or your kids are open to that, regardless. And I sometimes I got to remind myself, not everyone that I'm engaged with is a former service member or some connection directly to the Army or service, and so I very much appreciate that. Annie, I'm really excited that you're expanding the Think and Grow Rich course, because I was one of the people that took that course. And, I know at the end of the conversation, I was like, I want more, because the book is so robust and it has made such an impact on so many people's lives. Probably the most successful self-help. I'm not sure, but I believe it's the most successful, or the
It's one of the most successful, I
yeah,
will
most,
say.
and surely, and probably one of the best selling, if not the best selling, self help book.
Yeah, I think the key is that it inspires people to do the work. Because there are a ton of self-help books out there, but if you don't do the work, it doesn't do any good.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love about Think and Grow Rich is Napoleon Hill provided an easy plan for us to follow. Sometimes it feels a little convoluted. I'll admit that, and there's a lot to it, but it's not hard. And you don't have to be really smart to do it. You just have to do it.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that it's it's been updated, and it is really kind of focused on different groups in how it's translated, and I don't, not just languages, that too, but it's
Right.
translated through different groups that see society just a little differently, and that's a good thing, and it speaks to that group, and I really appreciate that about the book because it brings I think it brings that extra touch that makes people better appreciate the examples, the vignettes, and the ultimately the message of the book.
Yeah, I one of the things that I do want to say about it is that when people hear the title Think and Grow Rich, some people say, "Well, I don't care about money." And what's really important to understand is that rich is much more than money. And the techniques of the book can be used to make you rich in life as a human being, not just in your bank account.
Yeah,
And I really have to say that the most important thing about being rich in our bank account is that money is a tool. And it's not like fabric and books. It's not the person with the most fabric or the books wins when they die.
hmm,
There is so much that we can do positively in the world when we have extra money.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, when our needs are met, are just our basic needs, and maybe the comfort level needs are met. We can absolutely reach out and make such an additional difference in the world. You know,
Right. Well, I go out and talk around the state of Maryland for the Maryland Business Roundtable for Education. And I talk to middle schoolers about taking a rigorous high school curriculum. And I tell them I want them to make as much money over their lifetime as they can because it gives them options. And I tell them if your neighbor's house burned down or three houses down, there was an emergency and they needed help, wouldn't it be cool if you could write a check for $1,000 or $5,000 and you didn't think about it?
yeah, absolutely.
That's why you want to be rich.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to be Secret Santa. I want to be that guy that once a year, you see the Steve Hartman,
Yes,
newscast, and he runs around giving, people $100 bills in grocery stores. I love that. And I hope to be that guy someday, even if I'm not the real Santa. Although I'm prepping for it, but
I love it. I love the look.
it grows slowly. So let me change topics as far as books are concerned, but training is concerned
Mhm.
to the Changing Focus program
Okay.
because I got so much out of that program, and it was well developed over it was a 4 day period. I don't know if it every single time it's a 4 day period, but you not only do it in the States, you do it worldwide. I know you've done it in Germany. I don't know if you've ever done it in the Far East, but I know you've done it in Germany. You probably used to do it by jumping on a plane and going over there, but I know obviously the world situation right now with the pandemic has changed the dynamic. But even then, I know you've done a program for them, from here, from the United
Mhm.
States. And so tell me a little bit more about that and what people can get or expect from that program.
Okay, thank you. So, changing focus is 4 days. We always start on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and we finish at noon on Sunday. We go Thursday evening, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and then over the weekend.
Yeah.
And the logic of that is that if you're working, you only need to take Friday off. Or, if you're working an average schedule.
Hmm.
So that's why it's timed that way. Uh, and so we designed the program to fill the gaps that are left by the Department of Defense mandated transition programs. And those programs provide all kinds of tools and resources for service members to learn about finding a job, getting a job. And that's really important, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
And so we step in and fill that gap by helping them to understand about change, about why it's so hard. You know, when you entered the military, just like I did, you went to basic training, and then you spent an entire career immersed in the military. And what was in your subconscious beforehand got replaced with a military mindset.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, you find yourself in the civilian sector again as an adult. And most people have never been an adult in the civilian sector. And is what their brain is doing. and and that mismatch between what their brain is thinking and what they are hearing, seeing, and feeling
Yeah.
in the civilian sector, they just collide,
Hmm.
and it creates anxiety, and it can really shut people down.
Yeah.
So we start there, and we help people go on to help people find their individual purpose and develop a vision, which they're really used to doing for their organizations,
Right.
but we do it for the individual. And we help people learn about communication so that they can do better on their interviews, and actually communicate better at work and with their families. And along the way, we play with Lego and we paint. We talk about LinkedIn and resumes.
I've got my painting
There's
right
your
there.
painting.
There you
Yay! It's
go. There is
beautiful.
my painting. That's the first time I ever painted anything that looked like something other than
It's
squiggly lines.
awesome. You did such a good job. And we finish up with a workshop on how to live a purposeful life.
Hmm.
It's really important that we live life intentionally. You know, we kind of talk about it from the aspect of a picture frame. We want to be in the picture, smack dab in the middle of that picture. We don't want to be on the picture frame looking in. We don't want to be standing in a room watching our life go on the easel in the picture frame. We want to be in that picture living our life.
Yeah,
So that's what we
absolutely.
do over the time period.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I loved the fact that by the end of the course, I felt a lot more comfortable, at least practicing the skills of focusing on myself, and focusing on my needs, creating a model, at least for who I desire to be not as a person. Let me not put it that way. I know that I was a person, but like you said, I mean, and the longer you're in, the more institutionalized you seem to be. I know I was, and I use the word institutionalized purposely because it's a lot like, it's not like jail, but it's kind of, when you wake up at a
Right.
certain hour and you eat breakfast at a certain hour and you do this at a certain hour, and
Well,
all of
you were Command Sergeant Major Velazquez, and you are Jose Velazquez now.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it takes a little bit of a shift to
yeah.
see yourself that way.
Yeah. So anyone who's watching, any chance that you have experienced that discomfort as you transition as well, share with us in your post, or at least raise your hand or say, yeah, I've experienced that. I bet that I'm not alone out there in that that feeling and that discomfort of all of a sudden. I wrote not an article but a post one time about. And I take credit, but I don't take credit because I recognize it wasn't my work. But I heard someone say, what happens when you everything you do is everything you are, and then
Mhm.
everything you do gets taken away from you. And
Yeah.
I believe it was a gentleman who had lost his job and being a television news anchor for 30 years. And, he was kind of old hat. And so they wanted a younger anchor. And, they just kind of unceremoniously fired him one day. And all of a sudden he hit rock bottom. He didn't know who he
Mm.
was. He was this anchor, the 5 o'clock news. And I think sometimes we experience that leaving the service is all of a sudden I have to figure out who Jose is. And And I don't know, the last time I was that guy, I was 18 years old, you know.
And that's really a huge part of the difference for people is that age difference. Uh, who you are at 18 and who you are at 38 is hugely different. At least I hope for most people.
I would hope so, but yeah, you're right. No, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. So Annie, what obviously you have these other programs going on, but can you share some kind of words of wisdom? I recognize that you can't encapsulate everything you talk about on your first night at your Changing Focus program, but what are your thoughts for anyone who's listening to us who is having that angst and who may be uncomfortable reaching out to either you through the program or others in their discomfort for help, for support. We're not very good at leaning on each other. Especially the higher we go,
Right.
we're always good about helping other people, focusing on the organization, but maybe not so much ourselves, or showing any vulnerability.
Well, the most important thing I think that I keep seeing reflected in the people who come through our program is that they find out very quickly they're not by themselves in how they think. So many times when we're going through difficult things in our lives, we think no one else is feeling that, is going through those same things. And when you find out that other people are thinking the same things, feeling the same fears, it helps to relax you a little bit. When you start to feel normal, we tell people that their fears are normal. Uh, and I think when we come to an understanding that we're not alone, that we are normal, it becomes easier to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
And that's the
terrific.
big thing. You're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you, I share all the time on my LinkedIn profile that you are not alone, that, we've experienced that there's a huge network of veterans who are ready to help you. And I also encourage people as they're networking with other people that, sometimes, for example, if I saw you and I'm like, oh my God, you're the president and CEO, why in the world would Annie Brock, who maybe I've never met you, why would she ever accept my connection request? And a lot of times I'll share with people, I'll say, imagine yourself 5 years from now, or even 10 years from now, and you're super successful. You're in the C-suite, you're making $1 million. I mean, the dream. And Jose Velazquez, the army guy who does the job you did and is reaching out to you, sends an email and it gets to your desk. Um, would you be willing to help that person? I've never heard anyone say no to me. Every single person I've ever asked that question says, yeah, of course I'd reach out to them. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. So don't be afraid to reach out to others, because there's a huge network of people that genuinely just want to help.
In the military, we're a team. We wear different uniforms. We have some slightly different loyalties because of our different services. We call things different things, but in the end, we
Yeah,
all count on each other,
yeah,
and we work as a team. We take one team to the fight. So why should that change when we leave active service?
yeah. No, absolutely. I had to throw this up there. You talk about
I love it.
beat Navy, beat Navy. Um, so,
Awesome.
Annie, if people want to reach out to you and want to discuss going into one of your programs, or if they want to get an idea as to what other offerings you may have in the future, where do they go?
So the best thing to do is if you want to reach out, to send an email to admin at leadertransitioninstitute.org. And I'll put that in the chat. Can I do that here?
I got it.
Admin. Okay.
.com?
.org. Here.
.org.
There we go.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if I went to the comments or it went someplace
Yeah, no,
else.
that's okay. I'll drop it on.
Okay, you can copy and paste that.
There you go.
Because I haven't made a place on our website for people to be able to send that. You know, one of the things about being a small organization is that I'm the C-suite, I'm the HR, I'm the operations, I'm the fundraiser, and I'm the tech support.
There you go.
You're the website.
That's right. You're the
And I won't do it all. I have a really great number 2, Matt Sivasek, who's leading our operations effort, and Jill Fiedler, who's one of our she's one of our alumni, and she's come on board to help us put together our HR program. And so you send me an email at that address and we'll get you right. And then, or go to our website and look at our events page.
Yeah, let me pop the website up because I love your website and I love the information.
Oops, it says .com, Jose.
Oh, hold on. I can edit on the spot because that's how cool we are here at the Jose Velazquez Show.
Awesome.
Thank
you. It's easy to make those mistakes.
It is. And we live an ever more frazzled life, with all the craziness. And, sometimes it's incredibly important to speak to people like you who can ground us and help us better understand how we can kind of connect with all the things that make us who we are.
Well, Jose, I cannot tell you how important you are to our organization to help in helping us to get the word out. Thank you so much. One of the things about nonprofits is some people pay attention to how we spend our money, and how much of it goes to programs and how much goes to other foolishness. And frankly, we don't have money to spend on advertising. And so word of mouth and people like you who help us get the word out is critical to our success.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie, so much. I appreciate you and I appreciate everything the Leader Transition Institute does for us and for the veteran communities and transitioning service member community as well. So really love having you. And I look forward to maybe another conversation if you're willing to have a conversation somewhere down the line so we can bring this information to our service members in the near future.
Certainly. Anytime you ask me, Jose, I'm available to you.
Thank you so much, Annie. Take care. And we will be back next week with another edition of the Jose Velazquez Show.